Welcome back to The Lift. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking about whether or not we were destined for darkness. And all this week, we're going to be talking about the circumstances that sometimes life throws at us that are no fault of our own, but how those things can sometimes make us feel like this world just isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Today, I want to examine a story from the Bible of someone who had every right to complain about their circumstances, but didn't. And that person's name is Jesus. Maybe you've heard of him, but he is in the New Testament. And so in Luke chapter 2, we find this story of these circumstances that were terrible, but he chose not to complain. In Luke chapter 2, we see that Jesus, this king, who angels have come down and told his mom and dad that he's going to be born, he's going to be the Savior, he's going to be the one who saves all of these people, he's going to be God's own son. We see him born in Luke chapter 2, and it's not exactly the most pleasant story. You would think that if this king was being born, then there would be a huge festival, or that something crazy would happen. They would put his mom and dad in the best of hotels, or they would just do something to celebrate his coming, but they didn't do that. As a matter of fact, his mom and dad, Mary and Joseph, they were in a distant land. They weren't even at their real home, and so they had to find a hotel to go and have Jesus born in. But when they showed up to the hotel was completely full. And so the innkeeper told them that they could go stay in a stable out back to have their baby. So Jesus is born in a barn. This king of the universe, this Savior who would save everyone, was born in a barn. And it would seem as though he was destined for darkness. Then these shepherds, they come and visit him, and they see him laying in the manger, and they've heard the angel tell them everything that has happened, but it wasn't these glorious men who came and visited this king. No, it was the lowest of the low, these shepherds, who came and saw him be born. And again, I would assume that if you were the king of the universe, that you wouldn't think that that was the best thing. You would think that maybe you were destined for darkness. Not only that, but Jesus was born to unwed parents. So his parents weren't even married, and his dad was a carpenter, which isn't really anything to be too proud of. I'm not sure that Jesus asked his dad to come to career day at his school. And again, this king of the universe could have complained about it, and he could have said that he was destined for darkness. But that's not what he did. See, Jesus understood that these circumstances were all part of God's plan, that maybe he was born in a manger, maybe he was visited by the lowest of the low, and maybe his dad wasn't someone to come visit on career day, but he knew that he was not destined for darkness because Jesus knew, understood, and believed Romans 8:28, which says that God works all things together for the good of those who love him. And that's what it's all about. Jesus went on, and he never complained about his circumstances. He never told these stories about, oh, I was born in a manger, it was the worst thing ever. He never complained about his dad being a carpenter. He never complained about the shepherds being the ones to come and visit him. He never did any of that because he knew that his circumstances didn't have to define him. He knew that his circumstances didn't have to dictate what went on in his life. And he knew that God works all things, no matter how horrible your circumstances, no matter whether you were born in a barn visited by shepherds and your parents aren't really anybody to give an award to. Maybe Jesus understood that our circumstances don't define us. And if we could understand that, then we could see that we are not destined for darkness. We are destined for something so much greater. And if we can see that, if we can understand it and believe it, then we can really know that God works all things together for the good of those who love him. No matter what our circumstances may be, we were not destined for darkness. This is The Lift.
Hey everybody, Brad Marlowe here with your workout tip of the day. Today I want to talk about squats. I'm just going to use body squats here, for example, but it applies to all forms of squats. When you go down, you want to make sure that you're forcing your knees out. You don't want them to cave in. A lot of times I'll see someone squatting down and their knees cave in, and that's your body's way of compensating that there's too much weight on your back or whatever reason. You don't want to do that. Just remember, as you're going down, force your knees out. It's better for your hips and knees. It'll keep you from injury in the long run. Strength is more than muscles. This is the lift.